ਤੇ ਹੁਣ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਸੂਬੇ ਦੇ ਐਨਰਜੀ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਬਰੂਸ ਰੋਲਸਟਨ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। Mr. Ralston, very good morning to you.
Good morning.
So we saw your picture earlier about a couple of days ago at Damon Motors. You looked good on that motorcycle.
Yeah, no, that motorcycle was for show. It wasn't going anywhere, but it's a very exciting announcement. That company is going to be building a electric motorcycle factory and research center here in Surrey, about 500 jobs right in North Surrey. And they have a really great plan to grow their business.
Why was it important for the provincial government to pitch in $400,000 to support that project?
Well, what that program is, it's called Advanced Research and Commercialization. And the challenge for many Canadian companies is, and we're good at research, we're good at university-based research, we've got a lot of very smart and talented people, but the transition from that research to a growing business to commercialize, to make it a business that makes money is sometimes a challenge. So that is a small payment in their overall plan to help them grow that business.
Mr. Ralston, last week you announced the 5-year plan to move away from fossil fuels, and it's a $260 million plan. Contains a lot of the details about electrification of various services and maybe more incentives and subsidies for electric vehicles and all that. We had the BC Green Party leader, Sonia Furstenau, on the show earlier in the week, and she said that while the government has this 5-year plan and this only contains $260 million, the government continues to subsidize the fossil fuel industry to the tune of $1.3 billion. So she raised some serious questions about the NDP government's commitment to fighting climate change. What's your response to that?
Well, I think that that number comes from a report. There are some serious inaccuracies in that. But today we have launched a review of the royalty system in the oil and gas industry. The report is coming. It's been released this morning, and that'll be the first step in having a hard look at the royalty system here in British Columbia for oil and gas. It has not been reviewed for over 20 years, and we want to take steps to examine what is I think most people agree, an outdated, inefficient system, and replace it with a new one.
Mr. Ralston, how practical do you think it is to actually move away from fossil fuels, say within the next 5 to 10 years, because our dependence and how this is so intertwined in so many things that we do, that can we really do away with fossil fuels?
Well, I think people make that objection, but I think what's happening is things are changing very, very rapidly. If you look, for example, at the two major automobile manufacturers in the United States, Ford and GM, they have said that they are going to be fully, their vehicles that they're producing will be fully electric by 2035. The Ford F-150, which is kind of the iconic pickup truck that we see everywhere in our and people use it for work and all kinds of things. It's going to be electric. So the change in the environment is really, really rapid. The other thing that's driving this is that the people that make the investment decisions, the banks, the pension funds, the private equity firms, they are moving towards what they call ESG, that is environment, social, and governance concerns, and they don't want to be funding enterprises or products or services that are going to be obsolete as the world moves towards decarbonization. So there's a huge movement in that direction, and I think we're all being pushed along and in that direction very, very strongly.
So, Mr. Ralston, the $260 million that you announced last week over the next 5 years, is that going to expand on the subsidies that are provided for electric vehicles, or is that only going to sustain the continuing subsidy, the existing subsidy, which is about $3,000 if the vehicle is up to a certain price point?
Well, There won't be an additional subsidy for the electric vehicles. What we are looking at is also incenting the purchase of electric vehicles by lower income people, and that's a process that we're looking at. We have to do some work with the Canada Revenue Agency in order to bring that into effect. But I think sometimes people feel that in order to buy an electric vehicle and get the subsidy, you have to be fairly well off. We want to help people of more modest incomes make the transition as well. So we're working on that. But the big focus here is to promote fuel switching in homes, so to heat pumps, in commercial buildings, and also there's some money in the program to attract new businesses to British Columbia that will be looking to clean power to run their businesses. So there's a new rate where a new business that's in say hydrogen, biofuel, a low carbon industry will get a reduction for the first 7 years of 20% on their electricity bill in order to incent them to set up here in British Columbia. And there's been a lot of interest in that.
So good to know all those details. I just want to take a step back and talk about the electric vehicle subsidies, because a lot of our listeners are interested in that topic. So are you also looking at the possibility of providing that subsidy on if someone buys a pre-owned electric vehicle? Because right now that's only available on a brand new one.
You're right. We are looking at that. I think the challenge is if you implement that policy, are you simply going to bump the price up? That's the issue that we have to tackle.
Are those the bells of the legislature?
Sorry, I'm here in the legislature. Yeah. That's the bells calling me to my next meeting.
Right, okay. Very quickly, Mr. Ralston, the Site C dam, already I think close to $7.9 billion have been spent on it. The current estimate pegs the cost at about $16 billion. How confident are you that it's going to remain at 16 and not go beyond that?
Well, what we've done in the recent months is put in place a number of measures. We have a new strong, what they call a project assurance committee. I brought in a range of people with a lot of skills in terms of commercial loans, heavy-duty construction, and general management. And I think there have been some cost escalations, obviously, but I think we've brought many of the problems under control, and I'm optimistic going forward. I don't think I can guarantee the exact cost estimate, but certainly we're narrowing the likelihood that it will continue to escalate.
Mr. Ralston, thank you so much for your time this morning. Have a nice day.
Great. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.